Hello to everybody watching, listening. Once more, welcome back to Mechabellum, playing against Andigo with Giant Specialist and Arclight Sledgehammer. Not exactly my preferred setup, but I take whatever I can. My opponent, I think, has a good pack here, although with a lot less HP. I don't remember what he chooses. But this match ends up being a bit of a fortress brawl. He picks Phoenixes and Crawlers alongside Aerial Specialist. Aerial Specialist for Phoenixes probably not all that bad, but also I'm not going to say all that good, honestly. Area Specialist really has been hit with the Nerf Hammer ever since there is no more extra range. I decide to forfeit the first round, more or less. I don't have any anti-air. I would have had to start Chaffless or take... sorry. Or take, what's it called? Fangs. I could have invested into Marksman and, as I said, go on Chaffless, but I don't want to do that. I think it's better to just kind of surrender the first round. I am going to get this to one tower, but of course my entire army gets steamrolled by my opponent. I also end up taking the second tower, maybe? No, actually, no. Oh, no. The crawlers were enough. So I do get tower XP, but basically only on crawlers. But I think maybe some of these sledges also got some XP out of it. My opponent really was leveraging the air spec here. And what do you know? Marksmen come out or Typhoons. Kinda has to feel like a kick in the crown jewels if you're my opponent right now. Because that counters basically everything. 3 Wraiths will counter just these basic Wasps alongside the Phoenixes. So I end up going for the Marksmen, putting them behind my Arclights, because why not have the unit that needs chaff cleared behind the chaff clear? But then I decide to put them on the outside, I guess, because I don't want them to just focus on the same targets all the time. I also end up going for some delayed chaff. That should also help with the Phoenixes and the Wasps. Still very vulnerable on the flanks right now, though. Maybe not that much. I have a Marksman and the chaff will rout there. My opponent did add a second pack of Typhoons. He's really playing with very few units so far. Now, the Marksman is not being covered in time by the Fangs, but the Fangs are able to take out the Wasps. I am having some issues taking out the Typhoons because they have a lot of HP, but overall, just the chaff advantage here should be... Yeah, okay, the Fangs are distracting the Phoenix. Even if not, I think this would have been more than enough to take the last Phoenix out. It's just my opponent taking a bit extra damage here now, thanks to that. The first senior manufacturing comes out. It's the first because I think, at least, that in the future there's going to be more senior manufacturing. I end up taking EMP, apparently. My opponent is also skipping senior manufacturing. I thought we took that, but maybe I remembered a different game. He does now go for jump drive on these Wasps. I wanted to EMP these Wasps, have them come in a little bit later, so that hopefully the Marksman is being covered by the Fangs. I think that was the idea. Overall, I did a misplay. I added a second pack of Crawlers here instead of a pack of Fangs. So there is only the Marksman right now to shoot these Wasps. Arguably, I guess there is a chaff advantage here, on the ground at least. Now I am breaking through on this side because one of these Typhoons has decided that the Sledgehammer is a better target than whatever it was supposed to hit. I mean, it could have cleaned up these Fangs, but now these Fangs are tanking against the Phoenixes. And once more, it's looking pretty good for me right now. Other than, annoyingly, this not working out in my favor enough. But I will get a tower. And under the tower debuff, I can easily clean up everything else. So right now, at least, this is looking up. Is that where the shenanigans start? I think this is around where the shenanigans start. Amp-Core for Andy. And I'm thinking maybe I am going for either the smoke or the Incendiary. I think everything here other than the skill specialist is a viable choice. So these wasps, where will he put everything else? I do end up going for the amp core. Putting a shield here, putting a shield here. Simply because, well, there were 2 combat powers coming out and I don't want to have smoke everywhere or fire. I do fix the chaff issue here. Level the marksman. Not even sure where I put the amp core. Oh yeah, I think the shenanigans were a different match. I put some additional fangs on the outside. My opponent now has Stormcrawlers. He didn't even shield. I think that is pretty much a mad move. And again, he doesn't have that much chaff, and he doesn't have that much everything else, so... yeah. Well, the fangs are doing a good job clearing out the wasps here. Of course, if my opponent puts upgrades on the wasps, that will not work as well anymore. On this side, I get kinda steamrolled by the Stormcrawlers, and the same is happening on the other side. I think the Stormcrawlers were a really good pickup, especially into someone who is likely to pick up shields. Stormcrawlers are just very good at destroying the shields, because they have a lot of DPS. More more item upgrades. Also underground threat. I go for the shield. I'm not even sure what I throw the shield on yet. I still have the amp core as well, that I haven't used before. I wanted to see what my opponent does. Now he throws crawlers here, which will distract this entire side. I do go for the fortresses now. And I have an item for each of these fortresses, and not a bad item in my opinion. It will counter the wasps, it will counter the phoenixes. None of these are new units, so he didn't invest into more phoenixes or anything. And he does put a lot of chaff right in my front. He also puts these Stormcrawlers so aggressively. I guess the chaff here is now to prevent me from just missiling the Stormcrawlers out of the way.